What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back. It's Josh Emmett. Talked to him a few weeks ago, and of course, he registered a win versus Calvin Kattar at a recent UFC fight night. And then a few more dominoes unfolded. Alex Volkanovski held on to his belt this past weekend at UFC 276. So, Josh, first of all, congrats on your win over Calvin Kattar. 5 in a row on this current streak that you're on. And you've taken out, the last two have been very, very impressive. All of them have been very, very impressive. But Ige and Kattar were really highly ranked guys when they met up with you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And it's great to be back with you guys. Yeah, like I said, I told you guys a few weeks ago before the Kattar fight, I said I'll get my hand raised, and then I also said I picked Volkanovski to win. And then I was like, man, let's chat after I win, and then I'll tell you guys my plans moving forward. So I was 2 for 2 on my picks.
Yeah, and we probably would have waited a few more days, but I really can appreciate your teammate Uriah Faber going to bat for you yesterday. He caught up with our colleague Mike Bond. He was kind of telling us the way this weekend unfolded, and maybe you weren't treated as well as you had hoped, especially for a fight that was in the co-main event in your division. Maybe a little bit of FaceTime, because again, the UFC, you guys are, we'll say, we know you're independent contractors to them, but obviously someone that's on a roll, the type of role that you are, at some point you got to start dressing up the future possible matchup, that get that FaceTime, some interviews, you know what I mean? Because you're holding up your end of the bargain. And so I think that's the way Uriah was trying to say, was just there was a little bit of a disconnect, disrespect. How about from your eyes? How did you feel about this past weekend? I'm sure you've heard what Uriah said.
Yeah, I went out there just because I wanted to kind of show face. And then, of course, I got the win. I wanted to go out to the Fan Expo and, meet some of the fans. And I was making some other appearances with, UFC Strike. Like, I've been talking to them for quite a while. They have, like, a phenomenal team. And I got to go hang out with a lot of their, their biggest championship holders. So that was fun. I did some other stuff with Vayner Sports Pass and Sports Illustrated. But yeah, I wanted to sit cage side. And there's a little, I don't know if it was like a miscommunication or whatnot, but, at the end of the day, I can't control what people are saying. I was just talking to Uriah. Uriah knew what was kind of going on, and I would have never said anything. But then, he had my back, and he was just, I guess he felt like, he needed to tell people what was going on. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect what I'm going to accomplish, what I still have, plans to do. But I know he's just looking out for me.
And so now that the champ is fought, so I'll give you some details here. I know he was saying, I want to be a champ, but nothing sounded like we were headed in that direction, because as you know, we got a vacant title at 55. Then he also told us he felt like he has a broken hand because he's had the same injury before. So, using the timeline of, hey, Josh Emmett just fought a few weeks before, Volkanovski fought, afterwards, and they both want to stay busy. It sounds like obviously there might be some sort of a delay there, which I think also would take him out of the 55 sweepstakes. If I'm being honest, I think 55 will just fill it with 2 55ers and then move on. So, that's how my feeling is. How about from your end? What, is your stance kind of like, I'll wait for him to get healthy and fight him then? Or are you someone that just wants to stay busy knowing that the hand injury, I guess, could sideline him a little bit?
Yeah, and if it is a broken hand, it's like typically 6 to 8 weeks, and then he needs, he needs time for a training camp, and he is the champion, so he kind of gets to call the shots. I'll wait for him if he wants to fight till the end of the year. If he wants to fight in the beginning of next year, wherever he wants to fight. I know he's been wanting to fight in Australia. Like I said, he gets to call the shots. They already know my answer. It would be an honor to fight Volkanovski. He's the best in the featherweight division right now, and he's one of the pound for pound best, and that's why I want to fight him, because he's the best, and I think I'm the best. So why not? There's only one way to find out. So that's why I've been gunning for this this title fight for a while. I've been knocking on the door for a title fight, and I feel like the champion, I feel like the UFC, Dana White, Hunter, and Sean need to answer the door.
Okay. And to be clear, just in case anyone missed it, you will be the road warrior and travel to the other side of the world because he really wants to fight at home and defend at home. You're willing to be that guy.
100%. He's the champion. He calls the shots. You just let me know, and I'll be there.
I love it. All right. Goes. What do you have for Josh Emmett?
Josh, so I want to talk to you a little bit about, you're right, you did kind of predict a lot of these things. But I want to get your feelings on, what did you feel about Volkanovski before the fight? Did things change after this performance? Because a lot of people thought he had a tremendous performance, but did your thoughts of him or his abilities change very much after this fight?
No, he's good, man. I've been saying it for years. Before the first time Max and him were going to fight, I just thought stylistically, I was like, he's going to be the guy to kind of beat Max. And then the second one was close, controversial. I know a lot of people were, counting him out again for this. I don't know why they would. I get it, because both guys are so good and they continue to get better and better. But I was sticking to my guns. I told everybody Volkanovski is going to win again. And then he looked phenomenal. He looked great. It reminded me of the first fight. I thought the first fight he won, arguably you can argue that he won all 5 rounds. I thought, okay, for sure he got 4-1. And then this one, he won all 5. Max is a great fighter. He was a phenomenal champion. I just think Volkanovski just has his number, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how things work out in individual sports, like wrestling, fighting. It's like, I can beat this guy and he beats him, but I can't beat him. It's just like someone just has your number. And, I was picking him to get the job done. He looked incredible, and that's why, I just think I match up so well with him, and I just want the opportunity.
You have the belt, you have money. I mean, these are things that fighters strive for. But does it really matter who's there at the end of the day? Like, have you kind of, does it matter who you win the belt off of? If for some reason Volkanovski's not there when that time comes, is there a piece of you that just always wanted to fight the dude, or is it all about the belt itself?
Yeah, no, it's not about him at all. It's it's whoever has the belt. You know what I mean? Like I got into the sport wanting to be a world champion. So, at that time, Jose Aldo was the world champion, and then it was Conor, and then Max Holloway. So I was thinking, okay, eventually I'm going to fight, Max Holloway, a legend of the sport. And then, Volkanovski was coming up, beating everybody. And then I just felt like he was going to get the job done, and then he has the belt. So it's really whoever has the belt. I don't have anything against any of these guys. I just want to fight whoever has the belt. That's just what I'm gunning for. And, I've been working so hard towards, I want to be a world champion. I will be a world champion. It doesn't matter who has it. I just want that belt.
Josh, I want to ask you a little bit about something that we started the interview off with, because I can't really figure out the answer myself. You guys are in a tough situation because there's pressure from fans, media, other fighters, the organization. Do you ever fall into trying to be the fighter or the personality that other people want, the trash talker, all that type of things? Because sometimes things fall in line with that. But then there's a lot of fighters that throughout history have kind of just done this being themselves. It's not impossible. And you kind of seem like a guy that is just always himself. But have you ever fallen into that trap at all? Do you have any advice for fighters that find themselves in that situation?
No, like I'm just going to be, I'm just who I am, man. Like I got into this sport. Like I've been an athlete my whole life. I'm good at fighting, and I think I'm one of the best in the world, if not the best. So it's like, I'm just going to be myself, man. I'm the same person I've always been. I'm never going to change. So I feel like, it's tough because you see different characters and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of people want to, kind of emulate Conor McGregor. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, there's only one Conor McGregor. There's, everyone's different. I'm like, just kind of be yourself, because I feel like I have a really good judge of character. I can see through a lot of the BS. I can see who's really fake and phony and stuff like that. And man, it is tough because we're in the entertainment business, and I know the fans love that. I know the UFC likes all this drama because they can market it and stuff. But yeah, I'm not changing. I'm not doing that. So I feel like this is my time, and I feel like I earned it. You know what I mean? Like I always say, people don't deserve, like, no one deserves anything, but I've earned this. Like, I'm on a 5-fight winning streak. I beat guys in the top 10. I beat guys in the top 5. I can make a great case and argument why I've earned this and why I should be the #1 contender and why I should fight for the belt next. And there's nothing that's changing that. You know what I mean?
Let's take a look at that, okay? Because I see this as a 4-horse race, because I believe Volkanovski at this point will have to defend. I think 55 is going to be shelved, especially because of the injury that he has and because the UFC has to fill that in. Now, I'm not saying all 4 horses are dead even, but I think these are the names that jump out at me, unless we go the route of rematches, which I don't think Volkanovski wants to do, because he just did a 3-part series where he was 2-0 and he was willing to do the 3rd part. And I don't think he's going to jump in there with Ortega. So you got Josh Emmett at 18-2 overall, which is a fucking badass record, man. 90% of the time you've gone home a winner, and I've always told people after 10 fights, if you're 8-2, you should be pretty stoked. If you're 9-1, holy cow, you're championship caliber. And if you're 10-0, you're actually really, really special, And so you kind of reach like an average of 2 9-1s to become 18-2. And that's why you're where you're at, a title contender with a 5-fight win streak. Last 2 wins, Calvin Kattar and Dan Ige. But even if we scroll down a little bit, Shane Burgos, Mirsad Bektik, and Michael Johnson are all G's. Like, those are some tough dudes, You've gotten past them. And we look at who the other names are being floated out there. Yair Rodriguez, if he were to beat Brian Ortega, I get that. That would be a massive win. But he's also coming off a recent loss. You got a 5-fight win streak. He hasn't been as active of a fighter. He has a decent record. And I know that what probably helps him, Josh, you probably would agree with this, is the country of Mexico is such a combat sports rich historical country. And obviously the UFC, sometimes they enamor themselves with fighters from Ireland or the Philippines or Mexico, or, if there's a country sometimes that can make a push, Zhang Weili with China, I get that. But I still feel like his stats, they just don't measure up. But I guess in a few weeks we'll figure out if he's going to have a case or not. I personally don't think so. And then there's Arnold Allen, who's can match you in the record department. He's 1-9 in the UFC. He just hasn't beaten the top guys like you have, So I feel like that's where you lead him. Go ahead.
No, and with that, like, all these guys are great fighters, and Arnold Allen, of course, I know people have been talking about him and I fighting, and it's like, he's a good fighter, you know what I mean? He's never fought anyone in the top 10. I didn't understand how he got ranked above me in the first place, when I was 6 and then they bumped him in front of me. And it's so I understand that, but I feel like he needs to beat some people in the top 10 first before we start talking about that.
Exactly. That's just the only problem. He's catching Hooker off of a downward streak that he's on or whatever. You caught guys at the apex of where they were, and
they were always the guys that were like on a 3-4 fight winning streak too, and they were supposed to be that big thing. And then I matched them up, and then I would beat them, and then they go on like a skid after.
Yeah, there just has to be something for the road to the championship, win streaks over tough, highly ranked fighters. There has to be something for that, and that's where you're in the pole position against all these other guys. I was going to say Bryce Mitchell because he's got the undefeated record, and obviously a lot of people, follow him or whatever, but he's trailing. He's trailing the other guys. He actually might have a case against Yair. But I believe it goes you, Allen, and then after that, I think those two will probably have to fight at some point. But yeah, I mean, I've examined this thing, and I think the UFC, I think Alex should be interested in trying to continue the domination of the division against other names as well. It seems like that's what he strives for, and right now you're the top contender. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, and he's a competitor. Like I keep saying, he's the best. Like, so he can call the shots, but I know he was saying he cleaned out the whole division. I'm like, man, there's still one fight left before you cleaned out the division. So
right.
let's run that, and then then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and there's got to be something that makes him foam at the mouth at the power that you have, and you like to stand in the pocket, and so does he. And I think if he were to examine that, he would see, oh man, like, because a lot of you live on the edge. You know what I mean? Like, sure, it'd be nice to fight a tomato can and go in there or whatever, but there's still something that is pulled out of you when the situation's more dangerous. And as I've watched you, because you and Cater really had some incredible moments, something like that has to appeal to the champ.
Yeah, I think so. And even from some of my fights, I feel with a lot of people, like some of them have been close, but I still haven't got to show everybody that doesn't know me, like just how good I am, so that's why I want to fight Volkanovski, because he's one of the pound for pound best, and he'll truly bring out the best in me. And, I want to fight those top tier elite fighters, just so I can, scratch the surface and show people literally how good I am.
And then one last thing, going back to what Faber said, does the UFC need to reach out to you? Are you over it? Or do you feel like they just kind of mistreated you there?
No, I don't know, man. I'm not going to sit here and I knew what was going on. Like I said, yeah. I was never going to say anything. And then I saw that thing last night. Everyone was tagging me and stuff. I was like, what's going on? And then I see the interview. He's just looking out for me. Yeah, of course I was pissed, but yeah. No, they don't need to reach out to me. They don't need to do anything. I was kind of pissed because I wanted to sit cage side and watch that fight close. And then it's like I was on the floor, but I was like towards the very back, and then just a bunch of other things that went on. Just it was just like a snowball effect that I just kept getting like more pissed. So I was like, when I went down there on the first fight, the main card, and then I sat down, and I was like, man, I can't even see. So I was like, let's leave. So my wife and I just got up, and then I was trying to go out like the back, the way I came in under the arena, and some guy was telling me, can't come this way, you got to go up there. I was like, screw it. So I just walked through. Yeah, it was just a whole mess. But yeah, it is what it is, man. It doesn't affect really anything. Yeah, I don't need apologies. I don't think they don't need to apologize. There's really maybe miscommunication. Yeah. It is what it is.
Well, just let us be mad on your behalf, because that's bullshit, in my opinion, not Josh's. That 2 weeks ago, you're the main event. They're promoting the hell out of you guys across the ESPN family, and then you guys spill blood and put on a show for 25 minutes. That's worth something, that has to mean something. So I hope one of them just goes, our bad. I mean, you don't need a bouquet of roses or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But just someone that just goes, that's our bad, dog. We saw that. It ain't happening again. And that's it, but that kind of stuff kind of pisses me off a little bit.
Yeah, no, it definitely, I was pissed. I was so pissed. And then like you're right, I knew what was going on. I was talking to him, and some of the stuff I was just like joking around with, like I have dry sense of humor. People that don't know me like take it like literal, and they really think. And I was just messing around, just saying some stuff, and then he goes and tells everybody. I was like, man, what the hell? But the hell is that? But I know he's just looking out for me and has my back.
As the fan side in me, okay. I want to see you there. I want to see the champ fighting, and in the background be able to point you out. I think there's value to that. I don't know if you remember.
That's what I wanted too. That's why I went out to Vegas. If I knew that where I was sitting before I wouldn't have been there. I would have just went out and hung out with the UFC strike crowd, and then I would have went back to a hotel and watched it on TV.
Did you ever see Rocky 3?
Yes.
Remember when Clubber Lang is just sitting there and he's got that look on his face and he's got that I got next look? That's what I wanted to see. The fan side of me, I thought, would have built that up so much better. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where Uriah is coming from, because he's looking out for you, and those type of friends are hard to find, man. So a lot of props to you guys for the way you guys handle it.
Thank you.
Let's finish with this. I got to take my medicine. On our junkie staff picks, we had 11 people that editors, writers, radio hosts. We turn in our picks. I went with Cater. Mm-hmm. You proved me wrong. But one thing I noticed was when Volkanovski this weekend was saying, stand up for yourself, and he wouldn't really let us on to what the fuck he was saying. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. But then it looked like he had some bitterness towards probably fans and media. And honestly, I felt like he was talking to me because I remember one thing I was saying was, I don't think that was the best Korean Zombie, to be honest. He looked great, but I feel like the Korean Zombie wasn't there. And who knows, and I know this can rile the fighters up sometimes or whatever. So I felt like he was talking to me there. But then you told us a story before the interview. Holy cow. So on Junkie, it was 8 picks for Cater, 3 for Emmett. And you obviously proved 8 of us wrong. And then, but then you were telling us that you saw a video compilation before your fight where 18 fellow fighters, right, were asked who would win, and they all went with Cater. Wow. Like I can see how that'd be like, I take that personal.
But it just motivates me, man. Like all those guys that picked, it's just like, it's from what they see from TV. They've never trained with me. They don't know me. So, look at the guys he's fought. Look at the guys he's beat. So I get where they're coming from. But I guarantee anyone that actually teammates or anyone that's, worked with me, they won't pick against me because they know what I'm capable of and where they think and where I will go.
And it looks like you have thick skin. So I just want to ask you this. As it was unfolding and the first 4 had said, I'm going with Cater, man, or whatever, where did you just go, what the fuck? Like, was it after like the 7th, the 8th, the 12th, or was it when it was 18-0? Like, what were you thinking at that time?
That's the thing. I actually didn't see this until after the fight, like, because I don't watch a lot of that stuff, but someone sent it to me. It's actually my mind coach. He sent it to me, and he made this little edit, and it was just like Cater, all these guys 18 for 18, and then it's like he was just like, oh, this makes me laugh because we proved him wrong. We're going to prove him wrong. He saw it before, and he said we're going to prove him wrong, but I didn't watch that because it's always been like that. Most of my career, I think I've only been the favorite like 3 times in the UFC, but hey, it's all good. Like, I love being the underdog, and I make a lot of friends and fans some cash. So
I hear you. The parlays. I hear you. We're in the Vegas town, man. A lot of gambling going on here. So hopefully they're buying you a steak dinner when they run into you, or picking up the tab when you're drinking or whatever. Anyway, all right. Hey, great to catch up with you. I think we took up enough of your time on this holiday. So go enjoy that. And hopefully in a few months when they decide who that opponent is, it's you, because you've done all you can do, and you've earned it.
Cool. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. Nice talking to you. Take care.
You guys have a good 4th.